הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to those who are here with us in person. Welcome to those who are here with us on Zoom. We have some so far. So welcome to everybody. While I hope to be with you again as a visitor for the last time in an official capacity, and as your rabbi, I'm Rabbi Michael Feshbach. I'm delighted to be here with Gilchrist Sprauve and with all of the Rosenthals. Chase helping with streaming. James here as a worshiper tonight, but nevertheless in his role as a mentor, watching out for our live stream. And there are too many things about this place and these people that I will miss for us to be able to express it adequately, but I hope in this day of global communications that we are able to stay in touch, to be a part of each other's lives, as I will watch you flourish and move on to the next chapter with the new rabbis to come here. I hope that you remain connected with me as well. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Carol Rich, who will light candles once again. The reading on page 121, unless she wants to ad-lib something else, because I think there's no book up there. And the candle lighting on page 100, the candle blessing on page 120. We continue as we welcome Shabbat into our lives, even the candles shining in the light, even amidst all this dust, which we will refer to again later tonight.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all those who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. No. Wrong one.
של שבת.
Shalom. We take a quick moment. The readings on pages 124 through 127, one of those readings in personal prayer. Pages 130 and 131 from Psalm 95 and Psalm 96. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai, sing unto God a new song. Lechad Odi, page 138.
Likrat
142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei
We have faced crises, challenges, deep rifts before. I cannot recall a time with so many problems boiling all at once. And so while I was going to have us read Waking from His Sleep on the bottom of page 143 instead, let's go below the line and read together. And so we understand that ordinary people are messengers of the Most High. They go about their tasks in holy anonymity, often even unknown to themselves. Yet if they had not been there, if they had not said what they said or did what they did, it would not be the way it is now. We would not be the way we are now. Never forget that you, too, yourself, may be a messenger, perhaps even one whose errand extends over several lifetimes. Chatzi Kaddish, page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, Vimeru, Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Leolam Olol Me'almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Dekudesha, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yemeru. Baruch Hu, page 146. We rise, we face the ark, we face Red Hook. I will say this for the last time. We face St. John, but ultimately in facing the ark, we face Yerushalayim, we face Jerusalem.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
As we remain standing but face each other, the top of 149 together, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. As I invite Lyra and Ariel to the bima to lead us in Shema and Ve'ahavta in a moment, we look now at the words on pages 150 and 151. Here is one of the central Jewish concepts and one of the most important ideas of our tradition. It is out of love that God gives us the Torah. With Ve'ahavta we respond, it is out of love that we follow the Torah. In Judaism, love and law are intertwined. And Ariel and Lyra, I want you to remember that every single time your mother gives you rules to follow and tells you to clean up your room, because rules, setting an orderly universe, an expectation of the way that things should be, law, in Judaism, law and love are not opposites. They are intimately connected. God so loved us that God gave us the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. The Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Ha'ed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וקשרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישריך. אל תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Na Elohechem emet. Don't go too far. The top of 157, standing together. No, that's the word on the page, not a please rise. I'm sorry. It's actually the first time I've done that. 157, we read together, standing on the parted shores of history. We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלם אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה.
Okay. Kivada Adonai et Yaakov, V'galo me'ad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Towards the bottom of page 161, together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai. Hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru on page 162. The Amidah, the Tefillah, beginning with the introduction on page 164. Please rise.
Adonai sefatach ufi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Atah, Ra Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar. להצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Standing or seated in English or Hebrew in personal prayer. The bottom of page 180, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Oyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah v'Yorech v'Yirapeh et hacholim ha'ela. God who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, send your blessing and your comfort, your healing and your hope to the following whose names appear in the service sheet before us. And in addition to those names, or even including them if you would like, we say out loud the following: Fagel, Fetterman, Arthur, Pomerantz. And from Zoom,
For the last time on the island, Ray Andrew, Alan Kossoff, and Cyril Eck.
Gary
Tim
Solomon.
McGavin.
Eugene Bradshaw, Judy Zelanka,
Baruch Atah Adonai Rofeh Cholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal, who brings us comfort.
Misheberach Avotenu Kor haracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say
If last week was the Star Trek portion, this week I am thinking about something else. For Baha'alotcha tells us that when the cloud descends, the people make camp. And when the cloud lifts, they move forward. And all I can think about right now is Sahara dust. The cloud has descended upon us. It is significant in its amounts. It affects some people very greatly. But I think of the view that we had from the home that we have now left. And I used to sit and watch the colors of the water and the different shades of light. Mark, as an artist, as a painter, this must be one of your great interests, is the quality of the light. I have never seen light in my life like the light in Jerusalem. Someday you'll go and agree with me, Mark. But the light here on these islands is something spectacular and special as well when it shines. Sometimes you can see St. Croix. Sometimes St. Croix can see you. And sometimes we cannot. I cannot see for sure what lies ahead for me or for all of you. But the light shines through the haze, and I feel in the message that I gave to the congregation at the annual meeting, printed in the last bulletin, what I didn't say is, it's not like Joseph. It's like Joseph in reverse, because Joseph had, I blew the analogy in my speech, because Joseph had 7 abundant years and then 7 lean years. I think that I have been with you for 5 very challenging years, but I think the 5 years to come will be wonderful and blessed and abundant. May it be so. The portion opens with a reminder of the 7-branch menorah, and so to shine light, to shed light on any darkness that you may have. I end my time with you in a formal way with one last Ask the Rabbi session. Anything that is on your mind that is remotely relevant, anything that you would like to know, anything that you would like to ask about Judaism, or something you'd like to ask a rabbi, and if I need to, I will duck the question. James.
Rabbi, I've enjoyed our conversations, and I find you to be a scholar and one of the most amazing teachers I've ever known.
I'll pay you later.
For you. What is your favorite, for you, if someone were to ask you, but coincidentally somebody is, what is your favorite scripture? What sums up your bet out of the Torah?
Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 and following. It's actually in the prayer book. It's in the Friday night prayer book. Vayetze Yaakov mi Be'ershava. When Jacob goes forth from Beersheba, and he is scared and he's lonely. And the sun goes down, and it says, and he stopped for the night because the sun had gone down. Usually you would say the sun went down, so he stopped for the night. The weird order is, the rabbis say, they're very sensitive to the wording, and they say, so the sun went down at 3 p.m. in order to force him to be at that particular place. And then he wasn't prepared. There's no hotel there. So he takes a rock and he sets it up underneath his head. Weird things happen when you use rocks as pillows. And then he has a dream. And in the dream, God appears. He has promised all of the things that he's worried about. And what's my favorite part about this is that the next morning he gets up, he takes this rock, he sets this rock up as a matzeva. What did he see in the dream? He saw a ladder. And what is a matzeva? It's a pillar. It's sort of like a ladder. In other words, he is recreating in the waking world the setting that he saw in his dream. And he's trying to make what he was promised to him in the dream come true by his actions, not by waiting on not by saying, you know, the story of the lady who prays and prays to win the lottery. And finally, frustrated, God says, lady, will you help me out? Will you meet me help? At least buy a ticket. Yeah, it took you a minute. But Jacob, that act of setting up the pillar, it resembles so much the ladder, the scene of the dream, that I think he's trying to make his dream come true. Chase.
Do you feel as ready as you can?
Do I feel as ready as I can be? I will tell you a great secret. And if anybody on Zoom or any of your children here are thinking, or Katina, if you're thinking of a career change, and any of you are thinking of becoming rabbis or cantors, and you go to the Hebrew Union College, at that moment of ordination, when the president of the college, or the dean, now that the president is not a rabbi, the dean does the ordaining, places, in this case, her hands upon your head, right before that, the question was, are you ready? Any other questions? Anyone from Zoom? Chase, will you unmute in case anybody from Zoom?
What's the blessing for a new adventure?
What is the blessing for a new adventure? Well, anything new, of course, is Shehechianu. But earlier this morning at breakfast, James and I were discussing one of my favorite blessings, which is when you see a large group of people. The blessing is Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam chacham harazim. Blessed are you, O God, who's wise to our ways. Or really it means knower of secrets. Because you think about it, when you're in a crowd, you turn down an alley and you bump into somebody, or you go to services on Rosh Hashanah, Mark, and you meet a young, cute woman who you are still with years later, right? What if you hadn't gone to services that night? If you take a class in college and you drop out and at the last minute register for another class, and then think of who you meet, all of the paths that we take. See, classically, religion teaches the following lesson. It says things happen for a reason. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I don't buy it at all. I don't think things happen for a reason. I think things happened for a reason. That is, when we look back at it, we make meaning out of the events in our lives. God says, I will create you in the image of God. We are created in the image of God. This, I think, is what that means. It is the power to make meaning out of the raw stuff and substance of our experience. To me, that is how we are God-like. That is how we are godly. How we are goodly is another question. Is using that stuff and substance and the meaning we make in a powerful, positive way. But that, I think, knower of secrets for the encounters we will have, perhaps that is a blessing for a new adventure as well. Anyone else from Zoom? What? Well, I am looking forward to working with my new cantor, but July 1st, my first service at the new congregation is, in fact, her 21st birthday, and on that night, she will be joining us, yes. And it's weird, you know, again, speaking to the young people, I'm not a big drinker. I never was. You know, occasionally, right? Don't drink very much. But it's a kind of weird thing to be legal here in the Virgin Islands and then not. It's like, oh, you can do that. Oh, not here, right? That's kind of a weird thing. It's like other things are going to be like that very soon after the Supreme Court rules in Dobbs. But that's a whole different issue. You can do something here, but not there, right? But that is Talia's 21st birthday, as it happens. But it is one of the, I don't know, people reported on the expression on my face on May 20th, the last service she was here with us. And I was not a Rav then, I was not a rabbi then, I was an Abba. I was a daddy. I could not thank this congregation more for all you've done for me in my rabbinate, for all the blessings that you've presented and the ways in which you've responded to my new things I had never tried before, a Dylan Purim, a Beatles Purim, right? I've always wanted to do those and never pulled it off. The Maimuna, if you remember that. I had always wanted to do that. Never did. Boy, that was good food. But of all the things that have touched me as a person the most, the opportunity to stand up there with my daughter has meant a great, great deal. Final question.
Is Talia going with you, or can she stay here?
Or can she stay here? I didn't hear the subtext of that last question. I answered it without hearing the "or can she stay here" part. Gilchrist, it has been a blessing to be with you as well, and thank you so much. To all of our tech support and our voices, and to James, thank you all. Shabbat Shalom. I would like to ask the first two people to take me around the island in her car and in a pickup truck, Katina and Jackie, to open the Ark for Aleinu as we turn to page 586 towards the bottom of the page. And as they reach, and then we open the Ark doors and we continue with Aleinu, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא עשנו ארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. As we close the Ark doors, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, באמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום השבת אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. I got ahead of you there. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated for a moment. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother, your sister, walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give to them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And when you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, and by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children who need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Remember at this time those of our congregation's beloved whose yahrzeit occurs on this Shabbat: Joseph Abner, Ira Joseph Barbash, Irene Ebain, Benjamin Benvenisto, Rabbi David Cordoza, Harry Costas Koulianos, Chaim de Costa Gomez, Jacob Chaim de Sola, Esther de Leao, Grace Cordoza de Valle, Solomon J. de Valle, Solomon Lopez Dubeck, Mordecai Garcias, Gertie Glazer, Louis Worth, Reginald Isaacs, Solomon G. Jacobs, Margaret Kerwin Kirkland, Samuel J. Lang, Vivian Leibowitz, Esther Levy Maduro, Philip Nitkin, Morris Paiwansky, Alfred A. Pomerantz, Rachel Rodriguez, Jacob M. Sasso, Samuel Sasso, Jerry Silverberg, Jerome Stark, Miriam Van Vleerden, Carl Ludwig Weibel, Mary Weiner, Rachel Wolf. We observe yahrzeit of the following Chai members and those dear to our Chai members: William Abrams, Dora Barnett, Francis Bebchik, Bernard Beck, Benjamin Bliss, Morris Bornstein, Isabel Braudo, Irving Brickman, Lillian Siepley, Nathan Dembo, Irene Eisenberg, Gertrude Epstein, Herman Figowy, Harav Frieder, Muriel Goldberg, Irving Green, Sam Greenberg, Bert Grossman, Sylvia Grossman, Lily Harley, Henry Hayworth, Gerald Hershenson, Israel Ilovicki, Nettie Janoff, William Kay, Charles Cruvant, Larry Leshin, Jacob Lester, Rose Linke, Abe Litvak, Murray Miller, David Orlinsky, Eleanor Pressman, Oscar Robbins, Theodore Romer, Robert Rose, Manya Rosenthal, Edith Schwartz, Lucille Schwartz, Frank Simon, Max Slavin, Lulu Sogot, Jack Sorfas, Miriam Waterstein, Carl Ludwig, Sylvia Weiner, Ann Weitzman, William Wine, Helen Wall, Eleanor Wolf, Abraham Zweibeck. During this period of Shloshim, Leona Schulman, the victims of the Robb Elementary School shooting, Patricia Marie Smith-Wilgen. We add as well the latest and too numerous victims of fighting in Ukraine. Are there any other names in the Kaddish? Anyone here to say Kaddish for someone whose name I did not mention? Sylvia? Anyone on Zoom?
The memory of Moshe Cohen.
Memory of all of our loved ones are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn now to page 598. And as is the tradition in most Reformed synagogues, we rise as a congregation as a whole for Kaddish Yatom, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon uvyomei chon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbam v'rach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, Da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn among us and wherever they may be. And together let us say, Amen. While we are still standing, we are going to continue in a moment on page 625 with Adon Olam, but I do have an important announcement. Services next Friday night are led by Katina Koulianos. Chase, I don't know if you're available to help with the streaming for next week. If you are, that would be great. If not, we will find others. But please listen very carefully. For the past 2+ years since the pandemic began and we did services streaming first from my home and then from here, I have been using a personal Zoom account. And after the first few months, Penny, do you remember fumfing around looking for the link every week, and every week it was different? I finally figured out to put in a personal meeting ID, and so it was the same ever since. And that personal meeting ID I used was the synagogue's phone number. However, that's my personal Zoom account. So tonight, or since it's Shabbat, maybe later, I am going to change that personal meeting ID to one that will travel with me. The synagogue has opened a new Zoom account, and we are told that in 4 or 5 days they should be able to claim the same link. So this congregation's links, for services to be streamed, should be the same link. But be very careful. It might not have a J in it. It might generate in a different way. It might not be the same. Even when we publicize the July Hourglass and I put it in as the same link, we're not 100% sure yet. So watch the links very carefully as this synagogue will continue to stream services. We continue on page 625 with Adon Olam. Echo the words of Shalom Aleichem. Bruchim atem bevoachem uvruchim atem betzetchem. Blessed are all of you in your coming, and blessed are all of you in your going. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi,